Welcome to Decades of Era.
An animal wouldn't drain every drop of blood from its victims, nor would it throw knives. Do animals throw knives?
This is episode 196, recorded January 26th, 2025.
Maybe a
Gruesome magazine.
Maybe a what?
A monkey.
maybe a monkey.
Yeah.
Might throw a knife. Oh, yeah.
Or a razor.
Or a straight razor.
Yeah.
Oh, monkeys and straight razors.
All right. I am your host, Jeff Mohr, and on this podcast, we cover the good, the bad, and maybe even the ugly horror films released since the beginning of time through 1969. In each episode, we'll discuss the monsters, spirits, psychos, and villains that have haunted movie-going audiences since the dawn of film history. I think the people upstairs are wondering, what the hell?
Yeah.
With me this week are my incredible co-hosts, Chad Hunt, co-host on Decades for the 1970s and 1880s, film producer, director with Wreak Havoc Productions, and a comic book artist and writer. Chad, how you doing?
I am still fantastic.
Excellent.
Even at the age. Yeah.
I knew it. I'm glad you're here because, we do have two able and willing guests, but Daphne, who is still awesome, stupendous, and likable as hell, could not be here, and Doc Rotten could not be here. The OG Gruesome magazine.
I hope they didn't go and elope again.
They're down at a bar having a sandwich and a beer.
Right.
You remember that time we covered the Wolfman?
Well, they only live like 3,000 miles apart, so yeah.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Quick flight, and that's all it's done. So anyway, also with us is Chris Peters. How you doing, Chris?
I'm able to sit up and take nourishment.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Getting over
the nourishment part. That's kind of a requirement.
Yes, it helps. I find.
So glad you're here. Chris is our. He's always filling me in on the quality of the visuals of scans for Blu-rays and 4Ks and stuff, which I know nothing about, and my eyesight isn't that good anyway. But I find it science. Science is interesting. Also with us, last but not least, is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, published author, and all-around nice guy of Raum, R-A-U-M,
a novel of terror.
Thank you, Bill. These guys both had 1 day's notice, so
always appreciate the chance, the excuse to take the time out to watch a movie I haven't actually seen.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
cool. That was cool. Yeah,
and to talk with people who like talking about it.
Yeah.
And that we do. So thank you all for being here. Decades of Horror and Gruesome magazines are partnered with Play Now Media on several of their streaming channels. They've got, I think, 25 or 30. I haven't counted recently. But in particular, Decades of Horror, the Classic Era, you can watch us on their Classic Sci-Fi movie channel, their Classic Horror movie channel, and their Wicked Horror TV channel. And also on some of the free ones, I think, like free horror movie, free science fiction, etc. So yeah, you can sign up for their channels. And in fact, you don't even have to sign up. You can just go in and start watching it, and you'll get ads and stuff. And then you can sign up with just a email address and a password. You'll still be seeing ads, but it will remember you. And, if you stopped halfway through a movie and
isn't it nice to be remembered?
It is. It'll remember where you were, and you can save to a favorites list. Or you can actually subscribe. Is $6.99 a month, or the annual fee is $50. Now they have given us a promo code. And for the Classic Era, it's DOH60, DOH, all caps, 60.
Which is my IQ. Thank you very much.
Easy to remember.
He asked me for everybody's IQ, so
He went with the highest one in the room.
I just made a guess. So at any rate, what you get is 20% with that promo code is 20% off your first payment. So if you sign up for a monthly plan, you will get $1.40 off of the $7 of your first month. If you sign up for an annual plan, you'll get 20% off, which is $10, and it will only be $40 for a year. So do that. They got a lot of great stuff. I go there every time. I need to pull out a few movies and let you know some stuff that's on there that we haven't been able to find elsewhere. But several times we've done movies that we can't find anyplace else, not even on YouTube, that are on his channel. So check them out. All right, spoiler alert. I'm not sure how many people have seen this before and you're into Mexican movies, but we are going to spoil the heck out of this. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't ever been to Decades of Horror before, what we do is we start out with some basic details of the film that we're covering and follow that with each of our first impressions of the movie, move into a general discussion of whatever trips or triggers, hopefully related to the film. And somewhere in there, we will do taglines.
Chad's favorite.
Yeah.
First, I said there'd be details, and here they are. The movie.
He stepped on the tag.
The Curse of the Crying Woman. This guy is the comic relief in the opening 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's a riot.
Where he's trying to break the tension a little bit.
I'm laughing for no reason at all.
And you know what, Chris, if you don't mind, or maybe I don't know if you could see this well enough or not. I think I know how to pronounce all these, but are you
sure? I actually had the foresight to take photos. Let's see here. Release date was August 15th, 1963. It was produced in 1961. That gave me a little bit of confusion last night. I looked at Phil Hardy's Encyclopedia of Horror.
Oh yeah, the best.
And I couldn't find it, and it was 61. It's the title in Spanish is La Maldición de la Llorona, which literally translated is the curse of the crying lady. And in French, it's La Larme de la Sorcière, which is tears.
I like that.
Oui.
Yes, it's directed by Rafael Baledón, who also wrote the screenplay, along with Fernando Galeana. Produced by Abel Salazar. The cast, Rosita Arenas is Amelia. Abel Salazar, the producer, is Jaime / Herbert. Rita Macedo is Selma. Carlos Lopez Moctezuma is Juan or Fred, the jorobado, the hunchback. Enrique Lucero is Dr. Daniel Jaramillo. Mario Sevilla is Capitan. Julissa as Pasajera, which is passenger. Roy Fletcher as Asistente Capitan. Arturo Corona as Sergio, who is I think it's this fellow that you see right now. No. He's the straight guy in the carriage. Armando Acosta is Pasajero Burlista. That means like a joking passenger. That's this guy. Victorio Blanco.
Passenger.
Victorio Blanco is Campesino Viejo, and Beatriz Bustamante is La Bruja, the witch.
Just to double back a little bit, production company is Cinematográfica ABSA.
ABSA. Mm-hmm.
Filming locations, Estudios Churubusco in Mexico City. And the synopsis. After 15 years of being away, a woman returns with her husband to her aunt's hacienda in the Mexican countryside without realizing that her relative is a sorceress who wants to use her to bring an evil witch back to life. Yep. But this picture, this guy it looks like he's getting ready to sneeze, but he did one of those wheezing laughs, and he was the only one that ever laughed at. Yeah. He was the only one that ever laughed at it.
Muttley laugh.
Yeah, the sounds of emphysema.
Okay. And well, guess what? This is my pick. So I'm going to do first.
Yeah. Tell us all about it.
So I am.
So there.
So Whitney, our ex Gruesome crew, Grue-Crew member for Classic Era, was frequently picked Mexican films because of her heritage, I think, and her dad would help her pick some of those, and I really got into some of them. I really enjoyed them, and so I've kind of kept an eye out for things, and this came up as a Blu-ray. So I grabbed it and watched it, and I like it quite a bit. I like the look. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It's like some kind of combination. Well, let's see. We have a vampire. We have a witch. We have voodoo. We kind of have an old dark house.
There's even a werewolf in the negative reversal scene. The flashback.
Yes. And I think that might come from another movie. But anyway, I'll bring that up here in a bit. But
Ogre.
I enjoyed it, and I thought the actors did a pretty good job. I liked the tension at the beginning, the opening scene of the coach riding along the road, and our Selma, the witch, is out there with her trio of dogs and her henchman Juan. And I hope we get our names straight here, because it's very weird on the subtitles for the Blu-ray. It kept the names of all the characters. But if you watch it on like YouTube or with the English dubbing, they change everybody's name. So Jaime becomes Herbert, Amelia becomes Emily, Selma's still Selma, but Juan becomes Fred, which
Clearly.
Sure.
Okay. Daniel stays Daniel, but otherwise it was a little confusing there for a minute, because I was taking notes and then went, wait a minute, I changed her name. But I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I love the atmosphere. I love the setting. The house is like this weird combination of multi-levels and stairs, and they're always running up and down the stairs. And there's a ton of stuff that goes on in this. So how much does it follow the actual La Llorona legend? I don't think much, but who knows? With that, I'm going to pass it on, and I'd like to hear from Chris first, and he could maybe fill us in on the actual legend. I never heard anything about the two kids that she killed or anything like that. So that's not in here, I don't think.
La Llorona is literally the crying woman. A llorón is a crying man, but it's kind of a term of aspersion. You don't call somebody a llorón unless you're insulting them as a man. Llorar is to cry, the verb to cry in Spanish. So llorón is a crying woman. And the legend, it's a fairly old legend. Supposedly a young lady is married to a ranchero, and they're enormously happy. They have 2 children, but she discovers that he is unfaithful, and she's absolutely devastated. She's heartbroken. She's angry. And in a fit of emotion, she drowns the 2 children. And then, completely despondent over what she's done, she throws herself into the river, or into the lake. It's a river, usually. And then her ghost is supposed to haunt regions near bodies of water. And if you hear her cries, it's supposed to be a curse. She herself, she's greatly feared. I live here in southern Arizona, less than 20 kilometers from the border with Mexico. And in my experience as a school teacher, every year there were students, female students, who dressed up as La Llorona. Mm-hmm. It's something that you take seriously. It's mostly, from what I can tell, it's a way that parents discourage children from wandering off when they're little and going near lakes and rivers and bodies of water. A la have you seen the TV commercial, the public service commercial, public service announcement that's British, that was narrated by Donald Pleasance, called Dark Water?
No.
No, oh, look, take a look in YouTube. It's utterly creepy. It's a PSA narrated by Donald Pleasance, and nobody can narrate like Donald Pleasance about the dangers of children left unattended near running water or bodies of water. So that's always been my impression, is that La Llorona is usually told to children, if you go down by the river and La Llorona, if she catches you, well, you're gone. You're gone.
Nice knowing you.
Yeah, nice knowing you. That being said, this film had absolutely nothing to do with that. She's mentioned that the name that I've heard used, the name of the girl, the name of the woman, is Maria, Doña Maria, and they refer to, in the flashback sequence, Selma refers to her mother's name as Doña Maria. So that is, I think, the only real concrete anything that they have to do with one another. Because otherwise, about 3/4 of the way through the film, I thought, this has nothing to do with La Llorona. This is the first time view for me. I can't say that I'm a big fan of the film. It has some interesting parts and has some startling parts. I think some of the makeup is good. Selma's makeup around her eyes is not good. And my first thought, 30 seconds into the film, I watched it on YouTube, and they have a really nice looking transfer on there. It's overly lit. It's overly bright. And I didn't think, I kept looking at it thinking, boy, I wish they would bring down the lighting a little bit, bring it down a couple of f-stops, and throw some mood lighting in there, because it could have looked pretty cool. But everything just seemed to be very flatly lit. It kind of looked to me like an episode of Thriller from the early 60s, and also a TV production in general. The acting I thought was good. I can't fault the acting. The effects were variable. There was one startling one that I'm sure we'll get to. And then there were things jiggling around on wires. It was interesting to watch, and I do think that it didn't know what to do with itself. It was kind of all over the place. It was paced a little oddly. I can't say that it's my favorite, but I will say this. This might be a little contentious. It reminded me of two films, and I'll bet Bill knows one of the ones I'm going to say. Mario Bava.
Black Sunday.
Yes, sir. And the other film, just hints of it, is Les Yeux Sans Visage, the eyes without a face.
Oh, wow.
Here and there. But it did remind me of Black Sunday, and I expect we'll probably talk about that. Those are my first impressions.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Thanks. Chad.
This movie pissed me the hell off.
Do it.
Okay. No, it didn't piss me off that bad, but I have had such a time trying to watch this movie. Every time I would start to watch it, something would happen where I couldn't watch it. I'll try to watch it another time, or my subtitles aren't working correctly. When I do get the subtitles working correctly, there's no punctuation. So I'm stuck to reading with no punctuation, which is like a continuous read at all times. And I've heard Whitney tell the story of La Llorona 100 times, and so that's what I was expecting. That was that story, or something to do with that story, and it didn't. It had nothing to do with it at all, and so that was just a little disappointed in that. It did have some cool stuff in it. I did like the eyeless lady, the makeup for the eyeless lady. I thought that was kind of cool. The skeleton that flew in at the beginning, the ghost that flew in, that was kind of startling and scary. But there was some dumb shit in it too. And I mean, Bill's brought up how stupid cops are in giallo films.
Yeah, useless. Yeah.
That had to be the dumbest cop scene and funniest at the same time. I was laughing my ass off at these guys who were getting fake eaten by these hounds.
Eating through plates of glass.
If only they had guns.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
you gonna use your gun? I don't know. You gonna use your gun? Oh. You know, that kind of thing.
Let's see
I
how
can
they bite.
But if it would have been called something else and just been presented as it was, it's a good, just a scary movie. I guess that was my biggest complaint is didn't have anything to do with the real legend of La Llorona, but as a horror movie on its own, it had some good tropes in there, you know, about bringing the dead corpse back to life if you do this, and curses that run in families kind of thing. Lurching creeps down that are kept in chains down in the basement or in the attic. Hunchbacks with one Frankenstein boot, one regular boot, you know.
Running in circles.
Yeah, it had a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Clomping around and being surly.
He looked like Batman in 1989. He couldn't move his head.
Well, I guess so. I guess he's the way he is because, as she explained, they were going to hang him, and it looks like I guess they did hang him, but he didn't die. That's her explanation for why she hired him. Well, they were going to hang him, and but he lived, so I hired him. It's like, why were they going to hang him? I mean, maybe that's pertinent information.
And I hope
he a good hanging.
And he had just from getting hanged, his one leg got shorter than the other, and I don't get it.
Well,
have you ever been hung?
And made him extra special, surly.
Yeah. Well, but obviously it wasn't. So by putting a 3-inch heel platform on his 4-inch platform on his shoe, it just made him walk with that leg sticking out, and like he was going up and down hill.
Yeah. But that's my first impressions.
All righty. Thank you so much. I agree with those. Bill,
well,
what did you think, sir?
Well, it seems like only yesterday I watched this, and that's because I have a bad memory. I actually watched it just a few hours ago. So yeah, I was kind of shocked. I'd always wanted to see this movie. It was on the list. I was kind of shocked because I am familiar with the legend. A lot of my students told to me. They gave me variations of it though. Like the one I kept hearing was it was a woman who had a widow who had children. She fell in love with a man, but he didn't want any kids, so she killed the kids. And then, he didn't like that, and so she killed herself. And so there's like all urban legends, depends where you are. People embellish them. None of that's in this movie.
I've heard that one as well.
You've heard that one too.
Mm-hmm.
None of that's in this movie. It's such a fascinating legend. It seems like a lost opportunity. I feel like they were going to make a crying woman movie, and then they saw Black Sunday and said, nope, let's full stop, because this is a gothic film, and I wrote a list of some of the elements as I was watching it. So it's always night, which is weird when they're like, well, she'll come down when it's nighttime. It's like, excuse me, they just came in pitch blackness outside. So okay, it's always night. They travel by coach. There's the woman with the dogs, Mary Barbara Steele. There's fog everywhere, always. We've got a handicapped henchman. We have a creepy looking castle. Pretty good miniature too, by the way. There's spider webs everywhere. Like these people are walking through these rooms where you can't go anywhere without running into a spider web. So how does that work?
Dirty drawers in the kitchen garbage can.
That's right. You've got a torture dungeon because, where else are you going to put your torture chamber? We have a villainess who plays the organ. All right, that's cool. Got a spooky mirrors, secret passageways behind the spooky mirrors, the crazy family member locked in a room, trapdoors just out of nowhere, and of course, it all ends with the castle either burning down or crumbling down and burning at the same time. And so it's got all those things in there. It moves. It moves pretty quickly. It was well shot. I do agree they could have done more with the lighting and everything. Sometimes it had pretty good lighting, pretty good use of stuff, but other times, yeah, it did have that TV movie-esque look. The makeup didn't bother me that much. Yeah, you can see with the latex for the eyes and everything, but I don't know. I like Mexican horror movies because they're making movies that look like they were made in the 30s, but they're making them in the 1960s. And I think that's such a cool choice that, you know, Santo in the Wax Museum looks like it could have been a Universal horror movie. You know, it's great. It's like finding a bunch of Universal movies that you didn't know about. So they're fun. They are low budget and everything. And it's hard to tell if the actors are good, if the actors are bad, because I can't tell how their line deliveries are. And yes, Chad's right. The subtitles on the YouTube version, which does look nice, are a challenge. Yeah. I don't know if the AIs on the fritz or whoever was doing it wasn't paying attention, but they'll leave out the last word in a sentence, which is often the most important word. And then you got to wait for someone else to say something. And there's that word at the beginning of theirs. And yeah.
Well, I
enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. There were a few moments in it I was kind of drifting off, but once all the pieces come together and we stop the plot so they can have almost a lucha libre wrestling match between these two guys, it was good fun.
So just to explain to everybody a little bit, on YouTube I could not find any place streaming that had actual English subtitles on it. So what we had to do on YouTube, first off, the Spanish subtitles on that one, I think, were auto-generated, at least on one of the ones I found. Spanish subtitles auto-generated. And then you had to click on the right sequence of things to auto-translate it. So I'm shocked that it had anything in it. But yeah, it was sorry to put you guys through that.
Oh, no. Listen, I'd much rather read subtitles than listen to. As much as I like Mexican horror movies, the dubbing is usually
way worse.
Yeah.
It is
really bad. Yeah. And I can say that the translation was accurate. As I listen and I'm watching it, I'm reading the English and I'm listening to it in Spanish. The translations were accurate. Did yours also show it applause in brackets?
Yes.
Yeah.
Word applause. Like,
yeah. What was that all about?
What the hell? I don't know.
Is that for us?
I'm wondering.
After the third time of me applauding it, I was like, "This is bullshit. I'm not doing this anymore."
You're not the boss of me.
I'm wondering if maybe it was saying applause as a descriptor. If there was a noise in the background, and it couldn't tell what it was, and like, it must be applause. Must be applause. Yeah. You know, applause, 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 and then a word. What the hell?
Yeah.
So to move on, another problem I had is I could not find a good poster with a good resolution. So I'm just putting this up here, and let me start with this first. So that's the box set that I bought, and
very nice.
And it's got the Black Pit of Mr. M,
Indicator,
the Witch's Mirror, yes, the Brainiac, and the Curse of the Crying Women, and there's a pretty thick book that comes with it. You know, maybe 1/4 inch thick. You know, the small print books that come with it. So anyway, that's how I got it, and most of those 4 movies, I believe, are now available single. You could just go on, look those up, and buy them by themselves. But this is the posters that I saw look just like this, only not that same aspect ratio. And this is the cover of the individual Blu-ray. But I couldn't find one that didn't have, just bad resolution on the text. Yeah. So that's what I went with. But we got the dogs.
Yep.
She's got her 3 dogs. And we have the niece and her husband down below. And that's about it.
Yeah, reading the title.
Those dogs look a lot healthier than the ones in the movie.
I think it's fog too. There's fog around their legs or something.
Looks like it. Yeah.
we
little white squiggly lines. Yeah.
Top one's a lobby card. again,
Let me go, friend.
yeah.
That looks like a shot from the thing that wouldn't die, the head that wouldn't die, or whatever.
Well, that's what I meant about Old Dark House. So we get this.
Yeah.
The scraggly hand sticks out and almost
clutching
grabs him,
hand
and then
is
he
a
moves
classic.
away. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Daniel.
but same thing. I couldn't find one that didn't have. This is the only one I could find that had clear type on the resolution, but at the top of it was chopped off. But I don't think much. And then right below that is pretty much the same poster, only it's got English titles, but there's no credits or anything. I don't believe so. Actually, I should look to see, is that a nope, that it just has the Spanish title underneath it. So same image. So not a, I was hoping to find all kinds of different posters, but I didn't.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, wait till you get to the taglines, Chad.
Yeah.
Gonna be disappointed
Oh yeah.
again.
Wait a minute.
Dang it, Phil. I almost had it.
All one of them.
At any rate, it's now time for taglines with Chad.
She was beautiful, desirable, and not altogether human.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's it.
And
Right?
taglines with Chad.
Chad's our
Almost-
hero, cool and rad. With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
Oh, we there?
There can't be that many.
Hello.
Oh, yeah. Chad's
Hello.
our hero. Cool and rad.
Cool and rad, yeah.
All right.
With Chad reading taglines, it can't be all
Back
bad.
to our regularly scheduled program.
I need to get a
So-
T-shirt that just says "cool and rad" with an arrow pointing in one direction, and I just have to stand next to Chad.
Yeah.
Or-
we can
or,
arrange. I can arrange the
Crystal's face
squares
like
that
this.
way too.
Yeah.
Okay. So the director, Rafael Baledón, and the top one, that's a 60s. It's a picture of him in younger days.
Handsome
I
man.
just went for the horror-related ones that I obviously knew. The one on the right is Museo del Horror, which is from late 60s. I want to say 64. I think it was right after this. The bottom left is The Man and the Monster, El Hombre y Monstruo, El Monstruo. And I think that movie is where the Wolfman thing comes from.
Okay.
That's what I'm just guessing. He made that right before this.
Makes sense.
And then the bottom one is Orlac, El Infierno de Frankenstein. And actually, the
hell
English
of
version of that is just Frankenstein in Hell.
Yeah.
There's no Orlac on it or anything. So I don't know.
One of the taglines, he drags women by the neck.
What a jerk.
See,
And
Orlac.
low cut green. Hey, are you sure that's not an Italian poster? No, probably not. But he's pretty well known. He had a pretty decent career, was also an actor. So do you guys see any indications of directing style? Because he did a little bit of everything.
He
And
did
maybe
a
that's
lot of
just
stuff. Not
kinda
a lot of
normal.
horror. Yeah.
He did a lot of comedy, a lot of westerns, a lot of
He was churning them
cetera.
out. I mean,
Well, it was shot more or less like, like Chris was saying, it reminded me of a TV movie.
Yeah.
It was shot,
flatly lit.
just flatly,
Yeah.
lit, or brightly. Can you imagine how much more dramatic
It could have been.
the lighting would have been if Bava had directed
oh,
this?
please.
Yeah.
Let's, yeah.
The guy, what was his name? Daniel, that was in chains. If he would have
Mm-hmm.
been more in the shadows, how more terrifying he would be. He would look.
Hell, it would have
Uh,
looked better if I'd shot it just because I was trying to rip off
Yeah.
Bava at that point.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
these
everything-
posters baffle me. Look at that bottom poster. It's like, okay, it's like what is the thinking that goes into this? It's like, okay, we got a picture of the monster dragging a girl by the neck, but maybe we need something that'll let the viewer know it's not all neck dragging. So here's a completely
Yes.
normal picture of two people about to kiss.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Net dragging.
I don't
kissing
understand. I don't know how that's supposed to put any more
balances
butts
out,
in
right?
seats. Yeah, I guess.
Remember, Orlac spelled backwards is Calro.
Indeed.
I'm reading taglines for movies we haven't. I
You'd
have no
make-
idea what.
Yeah, settle down there now.
So he had, I think it was 80 some acting credits, 92 acting credits, 98 directing credits,
I mean,
29
he looks like a leading
writing
man. I
credits.
mean, so that's a good headshot there. But yeah, but he directed a lot of stuff, so obviously he was able to get it done, get it on time. And although this movie's not, I think we all agree what it could have been, it acquits itself relatively well. I'm sure it wasn't. Did you know? Were you able to show like how long they were shooting this? What the
Couldn't
production
find
date?
anything.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
imagine it was like a Terrence Malick joint or anything.
And
you know,
the
this-
commentary doesn't talk anything about the making of the movie. It's all about the history of the actors, a little bit about the cinematographer. He made right after this, he made A Bullet for Billy the Kid,
gee, I feel like I've seen that.
which has Steve Brody in it. So that there's an American crossover there, and also has Rita Macedo in it as one of the leads. So I had trouble finding pictures of these actors because in terms of the Mexican movies, a whole lot of them that are listed don't have a synopsis. There's no pictures, and there's only what appears to be a partial list. So I'm glad that they're starting to document this a little better in IMDb, but it's missing.
I gotta wonder how many of the movies. I mean, it's an atrocity how many American movies are gone. They just weren't taken care of and they disappeared. And the British were worse. I wonder what the situation is in South America. Did they take better care of these? I mean, these are low budget affairs. It doesn't seem like something that's likely to be stored in a salt mine or anything, but this was an awfully good print. So
Yeah, it's a fine looking print. I read someplace years ago an estimate that of all the films made in the United States since 1895 or 1896, 50% of them are lost forever. That was
appalling.
an astonishing number to me, and I have a feeling it's probably worse elsewhere.
And some of the movies that you would think, well, this one certainly was preserved. You find out that a major Hollywood production like John Wayne's The Alamo, when they were about to do a DVD release, they realized everything they had looked like absolute garbage, and there was a big effort to find decent prints. They're like, that's a Hollywood production. That was a big deal when it came out.
Well, I think I read something about there were places that literally like they needed the space, so they just threw this old stuff out and burned it.
Yep.
So I'm going to say this. I'm only going to say it once. The lighting in this didn't bother me. I love that opening scene with the fog.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I don't know, and most of the time I was fine with it. So
It
I
didn't
guess
bother me either. I mean, not just.
Thought
You
it
asked
could've
about a style for. Did he have a style?
Oh.
And that's what I was kind of referring to.
Oh, okay.
It was shot sort of like a TV movie or something like that.
Well, he did, if I remember right. I'm thinking that he won an award for, or a couple awards for Telenuevo stuff. Let me see. Premios TV and novellas. Special award for artistic career in '89 and also in '86. So later, when you get into the '80s, that's and a lot of these actors did the same thing too. All right, Rafael Baledón. I do kind of want to see the El Hombre y el Monstruo.
I do too. Now that I sort of saw a little bit of it
Yeah.
in this movie, it kind of looked interesting.
So our lead
Ooh la la!
antagonist is Rita Macedo, who plays Selma the Witch, the Aunt. And that top picture is something from her IMDb thing. But yeah, she was a beautiful woman. She's
Mhm.
not really. They're not going for that here. They're trying to, and that's what she looks like
Yeah.
in this movie in the bottom picture.
The hair pulled back that way severely.
Right.
Right. And with gunkies. I mean, you look at that top picture at her eyes, and then you realize that half the time in this movie, her eyes are covered up.
Mhm.
But I thought she was great. Now, I have a very strange story to tell about her. Let me see if I can remember what it was. Her daughter, well, she was married to Carlos Fuentes, who's a very well-known Mexican writer. And at one time they were trying to get him a Nobel Prize. He never actually won one, but was discussed quite a bit. And I remember shelving many a Carlos Fuentes book when I worked at the bookstore. The daughter that she had with him, and I believe her name was Cecilia, they did like an interview kind of thing. And boy, did she have a lot to say. But mostly about she committed suicide when she was 68. Rita Macedo did. And her daughter says that for the last like 3 or 4 years of her life, she kept saying over and over again, I'm through with life. I'm done. And her daughter kept telling her not to, don't do that. And then her daughter, I think got fed up with it and told her, if you're going to do it, don't do it in the house because I'm still going to be living here and I don't want to think about that. So when she did kill herself, she went out of the house and down the block and in her car and shot herself.
Wow.
But then her brother took care of the body, had it cremated almost immediately, and put away in a vault or a what do they call it, crematorium.
Mhm.
And she was mad because she wanted some of it. So she went and broke into it and took like half of her mother's ashes and bones and stuff. And then when she was looking at it, there was quite a few bone fragments in there. And she said it wasn't a very good job of cremation. But so she took these little pieces of bones and made trinkets, like you could get those like acrylic or it might have been what's the other word I'm thinking of, epoxy, like clear hard resins,
Like resin.
and put pieces of bones in it, like a skull or a heart or things like that. And fans would contact her and ask for them. And she just thought that was neat that she sent these out all over this, and now her mother was all over the world seeing,
Well, neat.
Anyway,
one way.
I thought it was interesting, and she claimed she didn't make money off it. She said, "I wasn't selling them. My brother gave me a hard time, but I didn't sell them."
I never looked at neat as an objective or subjective term, but
yeah.
okay.
The line she wouldn't cross. What? Did I make money off it? No. Do you think I'm crazy? I'm like, maybe.
Yeah.
So anyway, I found it and she was more than happy to tell everybody about it and about her mother's suicide, because she said, what everybody else says, don't believe it. I'm the one, you listen to me. She said, I think IMDb or Wikipedia says that she was diagnosed with cancer and that's why she killed herself. And her daughter claims, no, that's not true. So she just was tired of life. That was done, and that was that. So anyway, I liked her in this. I think she has a good presence.
I'm glad my daughters aren't the chatty Cathys that this poor woman had.
Phew.
Dang.
There was like a 20-minute thing on there, and the other daughter, Julissa, maybe had 2 minutes of comments. Just Cecilia went on and on.
She's off screen doing this to the other one.
Yeah.
Well, I thought she was great.
Yeah, she was great.
She made a great mean kind of
I liked
face,
her. And so I mean, some of these movies, it's kind of a cliche with like the Mexican TV and everything. They act pretty broadly.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought this one, no, I didn't really get that sense. It was I
think it was well acted. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very well acted.
She Miss Macedo also wrote her own biography, and then this daughter edited it and then later found, after she died, she found these love letters from her father. So she read those and edited some more stuff into the novel or into the biography. And it took her a long time to finally get it published, but she finally did. I guess a lot of people rejected it, and she just felt like it was her mission. So, but the whole family is pretty artistic. You know, you've got a father who is a renowned fantasist and literature writer. You have a mother who's a very well-known actress. Your sister is in a rock band and is an actress. Your brother is involved in, her brother was in the band also, and then went on to direct and produce. So there was this, they were all, and so does she, Cecilia, she was involved in productions as well. So, all right. Well, let's move on to our protagonist, Emilia Rosita Arenas, who is she's in all three of the Aztec Mummy movies. And this one is in the, what was the name of that one, Chris? Remember what I said? The Witch's Mirror with the hand makeup. And the bottom one with the actually the bottom one, I think the bottom one with the little pieces of paper on her, that's from Aztec Mummy, I think. She's like having,
look at these dishpan hands.
Yeah, right.
Soaking in it.
You're soaking in it.
I liked her too.
They were, yeah.
She was likable, a good sympathetic protagonist. But when she started strangling, you know, that old geezer.
Oh, I know.
Like she meant it.
And also, she went for the blood on the husband's hand.
Yeah.
And you know, he was had her hand on his shoulder, Jaime, and she's sitting and she's kind of looks at the hand like, like okay.
And he noticed too. I see you're noticing my bloody hand.
Yes, most impressive, isn't it?
And you have a look on your face that isn't like, oh dear, you cut yourself. Let me take care of that. It's more like, I'm getting hungry. So
speaking of
Jaime, Abel Salazar, and he also was in. That's a picture from this movie at the top, trying, doing his best to look distinguished.
Is Jaime Spanish for James?
Yeah,
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And in the middle picture, he is in the Brainiac.
Oh, the Brainiac.
The greatest movie ever.
It certainly is.
It is.
Yeah.
And y'all can get a Blu-ray of it.
Yeah.
To actually see what the creature looks like.
I will say, unironically, Jerry Chandler will put that in one of his top 10 favorite movies of all time.
The Brainiac.
That's Jerry.
Yeah. For what it's worth.
And I think I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure this trench coat hatted version is in El Vampiro, or the vampire in English.
Yeah,
there's this two-way communicator watch.
Yeah, right.
He's also in the Black Pit of Dr. M.
Yeah,
he's also in El Hombre y el Monstruo. Monstruo. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Monstruo. Yeah. That one's tough in Spanish.
And
it doesn't roll off the tongue.
The Vampire and the Vampire's Coffin. He's in both of those as the same character.
El Ataúd del Vampiro. The Vampire's Coffin. The Vampire, El Vampiro, is a famous film. I have never thought to look on YouTube to see if there's a copy, but it's a well-regarded film.
There's another one. Maybe you remember this. I think the title might be El Vampiro Negro.
El Vampiro Negro, the Black Vampire?
Well, the one I'm thinking of is called, I'm pretty sure the title is Vampire, but it's actually a Mexican version of M.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
It's an Argentine film noir, not Mexican, based on Fritz Lang's M. Yep.
Ask and ye shall receive, Jeff.
This is
Oh,
another
so
one. This is
odd.
kind of like the Crying Woman. I bought that thinking I was going to see a vampire movie, but it's
Sucker.
not. Something entirely different. Okay. So Abel Salazar. He's
Well,
very
yeah.
distinguished, but he's just not very
Kinda
good at
there.
anything. It takes him 5 minutes to beat up the
Oh,
short-legged
Juan.
Frank and Quasi.
Oh,
Frank
fairness,
and
he's probably
Quasimodo.
getting kicked with that
Wands.
shoe. That
It
was
just goes on and on and on, that fight. Yeah. And she's like
Well, there's-
cringing on the stairs. And
the guy can barely walk, but he can pick up these wooden beams and swing them
Mhm.
around like they're made out of balsa wood.
Well, the other thing that took forever was when Amelia was supposed to pull the
Yeah,
yeah.
sword out of the thing. That's like it took like 4 minutes for the bell to ring 12 times. It just was like I'm thinking, if somebody's actually using that for a clock, they're hearing the one bell and going, oh, it's 1 o'clock. And then 30 seconds later, they hear another bell. Oh no, it must be 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock,
Well,
yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
sit there for 5 minutes to find out it's actually
but also,
midnight.
that sword, this wasn't exactly Excalibur, like it was shoved into a piece of granite. You're pulling it out of a mummy. Just
Right.
give it a good
Well,
yank.
it isn't that she was
Mm.
pulling real hard, but I don't know.
She
think
was
it
having-
This is
pull
almost
out.
a suspense builder, guys. Come
I
on.
know.
That's it. That's
He was
it.
having a dark moment of the soul. Should I pull it out or shouldn't I? I'll compromise and pull it out real slowly.
I had those same issues in high school.
Ah! Well,
We were
speaking
all
of
thinking it.
Juan slash Fred,
We were all
It's
thinking
no big deal.
so that's him in the
Yeah.
top picture in this movie, and he had scarring
Oh.
on the side of his face.
Yeah, that's good makeup.
Um,
It's better than the non-badly blended eye stuff.
Yeah.
That's what got me in that first shot.
It ain't half his mustache off.
Ah.
And then Danielle.
Because it looked like it was latex, and you get latex on your mustache, and something's going to go, and it's probably going to be your mustache.
Yeah, it's gonna not feel good when it comes off.
Oh,
Well, wouldn't you shave the other side off to make it even with the one side that was not?
well, I
Long
would,
enough.
but
These
maybe
are the
that was
questions
style.
I have about this movie.
well, the bottom picture is from, and I will find it in a minute, but it's a movie that he was in with Abel Salazar and Ella Lucifer it'd be Ella Lucifer Yo. Is that right?
She
Yep,
was
it's Spanish
fine.
for nice.
Ella
beaver.
Lucifer and you. And he plays Lucifer.
Lucifer.
And Salazar, I don't remember what the character's name that he played, but that was a fairly well-known.
Is it like a
Anyway.
Faust kind of thing? Deal with the devil?
I think so. I didn't look details in it, but I ran into it when we did. I think I ran into it when we did Aztec Mummy,
Ah.
or Brainiac. Brainiac. When I looked up Salazar before,
Well, he looks like a trustworthy fellow.
He does.
pretty handsome-looking guy in the
Yeah.
bottom there.
Yeah. Well,
It's too bad he does it because he has. I have a feeling that in Mexico, this is one of those guys like, Strother Martin or Dub Taylor or something. He's got 218 credits. I think he's just one of those character actors.
One of those
that's
faces.
everywhere.
Yeah, a jobbing actor. Yeah.
put food on
And
the table.
I added this just because I thought it was funny. We had a couple of, they were supposedly jump scares, I think. Jaime and Amelia knock on the big door, the big knocker on the door, and the door opens up, and Juan sticks his face out, and that's the look on her face. And they do I can't remember if she screamed or not, but they do a zoom shot on her face, and then they do the same thing to Jaime, and he's looking the same way. Like, this guy's face is shocking.
You like my
That's
new
what-
Frankenstein boot? I just got it today at Bell.
The picture in the bottom is the only full length picture I could get of him, because I wanted to show this shoe he had on. That's got
Really
like
big shoe.
4-inch
See how
sole.
he has to hold his leg out to
But
the
see, if
side.
he had
so
a,
he
I know,
evens it
right,
out.
right. If he had a shorter leg, putting that big heel on would make it so that they were even. You could, you'd still have a limp, but
Maybe
you
put it
would
on the
be able
wrong
to
foot.
stand even. You wouldn't
Oh.
have to. This is the way he is right now. He could walk along on the side of the hill and seem perfectly normal, I think.
Yeah, forget fighting him. Just run from him. He's going to be going in circles. He'll never catch you.
Yeah.
But oh, what a fight! What a fight!
What a
And
fight.
I think we got just a couple more
Ah,
here.
this guy.
It looks like an
Enrique-
SNL skit there at the top.
It really
I know.
does. Yeah. I mean,
Enrique Lucero, and he also now that's this guy. He had a pretty decent career in the U.S. as well. I think.
yeah.
He was
Isn't
in the
that
Wild
bottom
Bunch.
picture from the one we did?
Yeah, from Macario, and he
yeah.
plays Lucifer in that one. So we got two people with devilish experience, in this movie.
I guess the premise is he's been locked in the room, obviously without a shaving kit or anything, and this is what
I'll tell you
happens.
what,
One of your eyes
and
goes off in one direction, and
Or every like Mad Eye Moody.
yeah,
for a guy who's been locked in a room for years and years, he could sure put up a good fight. He fights. He fights. He wrestles a little bit with Jaime. Then he fights with Juan. Then he fights with
Dogs.
Selma, and he
Yeah.
fights with the dogs.
his
loses.
strangling hand is still strong. So
Yeah.
But he's in the Wild Bunch, the Magnificent Seven, 2 Mules for Sister Sarah.
he has a good fight
120
with his portrait too. He beats the hell out of his own picture.
Looks like he's talking into his Mickey Mouse walkie-talkie there.
Yeah, it does.
Come in. This is Fred. Come in.
Right. Wait, this isn't a phone? Yeah.
So did I drift off and miss why exactly was he locked in the room? No, I guess not.
She just needed to lock him up to
She got
pursue
tired
her,
of his crap. Yeah.
to pursue her omnipotence, I think.
Oh, well.
And then she told everybody he was dead.
Yeah, there was some strange things there with when she mentioned that she was giving the blood of the descendants of the people who killed her mother, La Llorona. I was like, wait a minute, what? And then it never comes up again.
Oh,
Yeah.
And wait, what? So those people in the carriage were what? I don't know. And then she was talking about him being a doctor. No, Jaime asked, "Is he a doctor?" He asked Juan, the hunchback. He says, "Yes, he was a doctor."
He still has his lab coat on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Macario's a really good movie.
I want to see that. I haven't seen it. I really want to. And the skeleton of Senora Morales.
Yes, that's very good too. That's a nice sort of Hitchcock type flick, like with a tongue in cheek. So there's Enrique Lucifer, who plays the once dead, now cross-eyed family in need of a haircut.
And woolly.
Once dead, still dead.
Hairy, his hand. I realize, when you're locked in a cell for years and years and years, your hands grow hair, I guess.
Well, this reminds me of like Curse of the Werewolf, where they lock the beggar in the dungeon, and he turns into kind of a werewolf.
They knew
Howard
what was
Hughes
going
kind
on.
of thing.
So I wanted to put this one in.
I thought she was going to be the heroine of the movie. I was kind of disappointed
I did
to see
too.
her take a.
So the coach rolls up, and she's
scapegoat.
in the coach. And I've got a couple other pictures later. Actually, I could show it now. She's in the coach. Selma and her dogs and Juan step out in front of the coach. Juan actually steps out in front of the coach, whips out a knife, throws it, kills the coach driver dead. He falls off. The other guys get out of the coach. The first one, Juan runs up and strangles him. The other guy,
the laughing guy,
being the gentleman that he is, turns around and runs and leaves the female coach rider there. And then she faints. And after they're all said and done, he gooses the horses to start running, and the coach runs over. And that's all she is in the movie. That's it. That's just to show the cold-heartedness of these people, I guess. And their bodies.
I posit that she had plenty of time to get out of the way.
Well, she
She fainted. Didn't she faint?
No.
But this is, she goes by Julissa. She is Rita Macedo's daughter with earlier husband, not Carlos Fuente. And in the early 60s, she was part of sort of a teen idol kind of thing in a band called Julissa and the Spitfires.
There you go. Spitfires. Yeah,
Lisa and the Spitfires, and there they are. And guess what, folks? It's a great time we live in some ways. And you can go on YouTube and hear 2 or 3 of their songs.
Oh, they should do like a VH1, the true story of
behind the music
and the Spitfires. Because I'll just call it right now. At some point, the Spitfires are like, man, this sucks. It's like we're just as important in this band as her, but she gets to have her name on there. It's like, yeah, dude, shut up.
Well, you stop doing drugs.
I did see another picture that claimed it was the Spitfires, and it was 5 guys. So I don't know. I think
she went
they
off to
also
do
said
solo work.
it was her brother's band. Well, I think she got more into acting and some other stuff, later on. She's got quite a few credits.
Diversify. She's smart.
So
she's cute as a button. So I was sorry to see her, get run over by the stagecoach.
So, and in her acting career, she ended up in 3 of Karloff's late movies that were Jack Harris movies.
Yeah.
Or no, Jack Hill.
Jack Hill.
I'm sorry. And the top one is the Mexican title that's something about El Viviente.
I wonder if she's still alive. It'd be interesting to read an interview
She is.
with her. Oh,
she is.
I'd like to know what it was like working with Karloff in his last few days.
How is it spelled, Jeff? El Viente?
Viviente.
Okay, bad choice of a font color, folks.
El Viente?
And it's Mala something or something.
Purple over purple?
Yeah, purple over purple. Good.
But it is the Isle of the Snake People is the name of the English title of it.
And for those of you out there who haven't seen these movies, if you're looking for like a big, great Boris Karloff performance, the man was like operating on half a lung.
Yeah.
Would sit in his wheelchair, huff some oxygen, get up, say his lines, and sit back down before he died. I mean, he was working up to the last.
That one, the top one was issued in 71. The other 2 were issued in 68. Fear Chamber, and this one says Macabre Serenade. I don't know, but it was House of, what did I tell you guys? House of Evil, I think was the American title.
It's the Chamber of Horrors. I know that one.
And she's top billed on all 3 of those right after Karloff.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And she, I said in the commentary or in the interview with her and her sister, they were in separate places. She didn't have very much time, but one of the things she did make a point of saying was how much she enjoyed, and she had a picture of her sitting with Karloff and how much she enjoyed him and what a wonderful, nice man he was. And
that's nice.
Yeah.
But interesting little things that come up there. Well, that's all of the cast that I focus on. But here's, I mentioned the coast. So there's Juan throwing the knife at the top, and there's the coach driver trying to catch it. And that's her on the bottom. Not a very good picture, but just about to be run over. I like that whole scene. That whole scene of them coming through the foggy things with the bushes on the side.
Yeah.
And there was some kind of, I don't know why. I love atmospheric stuff like that.
It's like the first 10 minutes of any Dracula adaptation. He's the foggy woods, the trees that have no leaves. It's just,
and it was kind of a shock too when he pops out. The guy stops the coach. He rears up, throws a knife into him.
or like the coach ride after the credit sequence in Black Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's reminiscent, except that was better lit. This is just
Well,
so bright.
yeah.
You could also
I lighten these pictures up so I can see.
And it's obviously a set. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all shot in the studio.
You could sometimes tell that the background is a sheet.
Well,
a painted
we
sheet.
mentioned
you see the shadows of the
Selma's
branches.
Mhm.
Oh, in the
makeup.
mirror.
Yeah. And she said that they couldn't figure out how to do her eyes. I don't quite understand that. She claimed that she did the actual eyepieces and put some black cloth over them. So this was something that they put on, and there was, anyway.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a Whitley Strieber novel? That's what I
Yeah.
want it to look like.
Yeah, I have a friend, Dennis Lancaster, and he is a suit maker and a costume maker. That's a standard thing to do. It's a black cloth, and if you look at it from any distance, it looks like it's solid.
Yeah.
But it's perforated. When you get up close to it, it's kind of like looking through a screen door.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
up close to it, you can still see through it.
You wouldn't want to drive wearing them, but you can,
No.
you can function.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing you also notice if you look at her lips, they're doing the Norman Bates thing from Psycho, where his lips start to turn to the
Yeah.
skull of the teeth.
Yeah,
the teeth
you have
skull.
the actor smile, and then you put on some liquid latex, and then when it dries, you just let it relax, and it's all pruning.
So she's looking in the mirror, and that's
Yeah, yeah.
that's what she turns into.
Yeah, her aunt and then her Selma's mother.
Yeah, Norman Bates' mom.
Well, then we have this. We kind of had the vampire witch thing. So here's the can't see a reflection in the mirror in the top shot. Selma.
And they did a decent enough job with the classic. There's, obviously someone standing behind this not mirror piece of glass, and when they raise their hands up, you raise yours up, and if you examine it too closely, it's pretty obvious they don't match. But it was okay. I've seen worse.
Yeah, the lady on this side of the mirror was too slow.
Yeah,
In the mirror, the hands came up, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then she raised them. Oh, I see what they're doing.
Man, you guys, I'm watching way closer than I do.
We're hypercritical.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the person on this side of the mirror and going, "Oh my God!" I'm not even really looking close. I'm just going, "Her image isn't in the mirror." Anyway, and then the bottom shot is that's where this old dark house stuff comes in. The mirror opens up, and there's a passageway that goes down into her into a bunch of hallways filled with cobwebs and stuff. Old dark house.
I got an old house, but I haven't found any secret passageways at all. I keep tapping on the walls and nothing.
Yeah.
So what you again? You guys have already talked about this. It was obvious that skeleton was swinging. It just all of a sudden comes swinging down into the camera, and then she stands up with her arms.
Ta-da!
It's startling.
It's a
Yeah.
hand.
Well, there's that long, slow tracking shot of the camera. It comes down the stairs. You see the rats. You see the cobwebs. And then the camera sort of begins to turn off to the right. And then whoosh, this thing comes down. And it is kind of startling.
Yeah.
In fact, I backed it up and watched it again. That was when I saw the wires. But the first time I didn't. Like, oh, hello. And then she kind of jumps into the scene. Ta-da!
Well, what I thought immediately was it obviously seems like it's swinging on a wire. I mean, I didn't see the wire, but the arc is like you're
Right.
Yeah. It's in there's wires fore and aft and side to side. You can see them.
But it was kind of cool. I don't know where she was coming from.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't ask too many questions.
Yeah.
And that was a long tracking shot at downstairs and panned all around the room, and you see all the rats and everything. And basically, this is just Daniel fighting. He's
Strangling Frederick.
Yeah.
Jaime.
No, wasn't Daniel's name Fred or something in the English dub version?
Juan's name was Fred.
Juan, okay.
Yeah.
Daniel was Daniel in both.
Now,
of them.
wouldn't you think
Go
this
figure.
guy being locked in a room for 15 years or whatever would have about as much strength in those arms
Right,
as a soda
exactly.
straw? You know,
Exactly.
like
And he
anyone,
fights
6-year-olds
everybody
could
there.
take him. He's got
It's like,
moxie.
Okay. Of course,
Like
the
Steve
very-
Railsback.
Of course, you can't sneak up on
It
him
is.
because his eyes are going in both directions.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
The good thing about that is he
360
can
vision.
see around the bars
yeah.
perfectly.
Well, Juan goes in and tries to beat him up, and he gets away from Juan too.
Hmm.
Strangles. I thought Juan was dead then.
Yeah. Hit him with a stool.
Well, he hit him with a stool, and then he whipped him with chains, and then strangled him with the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he was dead. And I'm sorry, but Jaime walks up this big, long, winding, metal stair, at least a couple stories up to this
Mhm.
bell tower. And when he breaks loose from
Oh,
Daniel, he
And he
falls over the
falls.
railing.
Ah.
He's
He's dead.
alive. He's fine. He
Yeah.
falls down on
Mhm.
stone steps.
Yeah.
I thought he was a goner too.
Well, he told her later, I rolled down the stairs. I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit.
I know
Yeah.
parkour.
Okay. The way that railing broke, I thought he fell down
Yeah,
the.
sure looked it.
Oh well.
Yeah. Tougher man than me.
I probably got more stuff here than anybody's. So just things I thought. Like we got the 3 dogs. Isn't that kind of like Cerberus? She's guarding the.
It's a little like Cerberus. It's a lot like Barbara Shelley.
Yeah.
I mean, Barbara
yeah.
Shelley.
Well, did she
Barbara
have 3
Steele.
dogs? Did she have 3 dogs?
I think she only had 2 in
Or
Black
2,
Sunday.
yeah.
Yeah.
Release
Hers
the
are probably
hounds.
well fed.
At least, yeah, they look a little hungry.
Yeah.
And that's where she's grimacing there at the bottom. That's just
And
her.
if I'm an actor and these trained dogs are supposed to pretend to attack me, I don't want to see any rib bones on
No.
these dogs. I want these dogs to be
Yeah.
fat,
Yeah.
dumb, and happy.
Yeah, those dogs were scrawny. The scene where Selma sort of hypnotizes Jaime,
Yeah.
and he comes down, and then she gave it this kind of voodoo vibe. She had a little doll of him, like a wax doll.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I know you're going to put it in that flame. Keep doing it. And she's standing there talking to him, and she starts to bend down. And she's going to kiss him. Oh, man, this is it. What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? And then she's interrupted.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that takes an
Awkward.
interesting turn.
I wasn't doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what it looks like.
Using voodoo. Yeah, and then the top picture, of course, is the witch with the staff run through her. I don't know what it is. It's got a handle on the end, kind of like a sword.
It looks like a flagpole.
Yeah,
with
it's
like a
honking big.
crucifix on the end.
Run this up your flagpole.
Well, then at some point, she tells Amelia that pretty soon it's going to take you over. There's nothing you can do about it. And I think I've seen this in other Mexican movies. These eyes on the ceiling. There's those eyes behind her in the sky, like
Probably in a Coffin Joe movie.
yeah.
It does look coffin-y.
Yeah, I'm thinking Brainiac or Aztec mummies is what I was thinking, but and that old guy on the top was she just walks up. Jeez.
Oh,
He didn't ask for any of that. I'll strangle you and then scratch your face.
His
Yeah.
face.
And her eyes are starting to go black.
That's what
Then
you
he's
get for
complaining
stopping with
later.
strangers. Yeah.
She scratched me and then
she
she
stopped
looked like
herself.
she was loving it.
She stopped herself.
Yep.
I called these poor Jaime. He's
Yeah.
he's trying to comfort her. He's got his bloody hand on her shoulder, and she's eyeing the blood, like yum yum.
Yeah.
Guy
can't catch a break.
And then he's lying on the stairs after he fell down the stairs, I guess. And
It's always
again,
fun meeting the in-laws, right?
Mhm.
Just
yeah,
got
apparently
married to
Selma
this
was
girl.
going to do him in, but that I don't know. I like the part where they take him up to his room, and then he starts to stagger out and collapses on the stairs or something. Juan comes up and is like this.
Ready to kill him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Amelia walks around the corner and he's like, "Oh, here, help me get him up."
I wasn't doing nothing.
And then they got poor Jaime strung up on what do they call those?
Stocks.
Stocks, yeah. His arms are hanging up.
Stocks and bondage.
And sets her to like, I don't know. I just liked all these scenes. Here's the witch, Chad. I don't know.
Yeah, she
The bottom one is just about to wink at you, I think.
she ain't crisp. So was she? No, she wasn't burned. I guess she's just sort of decayed.
I think she was burned in the flashback scene, wasn't she?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
And then they mentioned that something was run through her heart. So that would be the flagpole /
Right.
crucifix / infinitely long thingy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm surprised they didn't have a mask hammered into her face. I mean, you're gonna rip
Right.
off Black Sunday, go whole hog.
12
Well,
herbs and spices.
she's supposed to do this at midnight, and we talked about the bell starts chiming, and there's some weird mechanism. I don't know what the hell that was. It was apparently running by itself.
Gears.
The chain is going, and the bell very, very slowly rings. And she's over there getting ready to pull this javelin or staff or whatever that is out of that
Flagpole.
thing. And man, it just goes on and on and on.
Not so fast. Slowly.
Only
Heidi's
savor
in
the
the
moment.
background going, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
It's kind of neat when Amelia comes to her senses and shoves the thing back in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she sort of collapses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like a balloon deflating and it
Exactly. Yeah. That
crinkled
was
down.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was kind
Yeah,
of yeah.
Looks like she
Oiled
started to crumble too.
Yeah.
A little bit. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
she kind of caves in.
Mm-hmm. Curse your
Yeah,
flagstaff.
Yeah, so here's you can see the staff sticking through the thing, and this
Yep.
is Selma's working with the voodoo doll. And then we also had
It's a bad voodoo doll. That could be
there's
anybody.
this thing where she's telling the story where all the flashback is in this negative, which I kind of liked.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
so.
Yeah,
different.
that was cool. Yeah.
It's like the scene in the 1922 Nosferatu when
Yeah.
Ken Orlock is disguised as the coachman and he goes to pick up Jonathan Hutter. And it's in negative reverse to show that he's entering like the domain of evil.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see it, though, I just think of Shriek of the Mutilated.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
The bottom, then the bottom is Selma. That's how she starts to dissolve, and
Yeah.
that's on the way to dust, if I remember right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lap dissolves over and over again. And the chandelier, I think, is there.
Oh, that was too. Daniel
It was on the other
Daniel's
side.
fighting those dogs, and then the chandelier
Yeah.
falls on him.
Yeah.
And apparently,
If you blink, you miss it.
Ties up all the
Yeah.
loose ends. You don't have to worry. Gee, I hope they're okay. They got out of the collapsing building. What about the dogs? No, we took care of the dogs with the chandelier.
All right. I feel like I was forcing you guys to go through those. But I most
Here's
of those
my
shots I
vacation
like.
pictures.
Mhm.
Yeah, well,
How
I
about
would've
some
loved to have-
home movies of my family on vacation?
Here's
Yeah,
us at the Eiffel Tower.
Here I
Here's
am.
one of
standing
my
in Quick
dogs.
Trip.
like
eating
in Denmark. All right. Any last comments about this?
Well, thanks for inviting me on because I did enjoy it. And I like revisiting these things because, again, I really do like the old school Universal horror movies and everything, but I've watched them all 1,000 times. And some of these Mexican movies, even though they might be in the 60s, still have that vibe going for it.
Mm-hmm.
Glorious black and white. And
This
Don't
could
have
have
to-
easily been a 40s movie.
oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Got passed for the 40s.
Yeah, it actually could have been like one of the Poverty Row 40s pictures or something.
Oh, yeah.
I just liked. I think I've watched enough of these now that I'm starting to recognize that. Like these actors are all in other movies we've done. You know, except for Juan, except for Moctezuma, but Abel Salazar and Rosita Arenas and my mind's going blank. Enrique Lucero, who did Macario, which was such a cool movie. So anyway, All right, check them out. It's hard to, you got to struggle with it. But if I remember right, I don't remember what the box set is of these, but the individuals were like between $13 and $20 a piece, something like that. And I thought they were pretty nice, and they had a lot of nice extras on it.
Indicator does some of the best work in the business. They do an absolutely phenomenal job, especially the initial box sets. They always include a thick book where they have what most fans refer to as a chunky case that you can flick with your finger and throw it at people and it won't damage them. But they sell out of those very rapidly. And the best way to order from Indicator is actually to order from directly from their site in the UK. I have a few of their titles, and if you order them through Amazon, they're expensive. But
I should have copied these. So it came with a lobby card for each one of the movies.
Oh, cool.
Miniature, kind of postcard size. There's
the bling.
Nice.
And the book it's not saddle stapled. It's
bound.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have their John Ford at Columbia collection over here somewhere.
Looks like it's right at 100 pages, and the type is large enough for even me to read. Some of the types I end up having to get my little helper out. Anyway,
yeah,
those are out there, folks. Check them out if you want to get into this. It's a whole. Sometimes I feel like we've seen all this stuff, and it's nice to get find a new well to take from.
Yeah, I really want to see Macario. And I really want to see the Misterios de Ultratumba, the Black Pit of Dr. M, I think is what you said it's called in English.
Yes.
Yeah, that came recommended to me. So I found it in YouTube, and it's a nice looking transfer, and it's very atmospheric. It's got deep blacks, unlike this one. It's like not bleached looking. So I'll be looking forward to watching that one.
Macario is really good. You'll like it.
Well, that's where I first heard of it, was your review here. Also, Dos Monjes.
Yes.
Two monks.
Yep. That was available from Criterion. I don't know if it still is or not, in a box set of. I forget
that's
what
right.
It was like a Scorsese historical thing or something. I want to check this really quick, because since we're talking Mexican, who's the guy that? Carlos Enrique Taboada. There was a 3-movie box set that came out, and I want to say Finger Syndrome, that had Poison for the Fairies and a couple of 70s movies. And those 3 were on Shudder for quite a while. One of them was called Rapina, which I would not say that it's hard to say it's a horror, but damn, that was a good movie. I loved it. Check it out. Yeah, it reminded me of some of those movies like Wages of Fear and Sorcerer, and it's a moral dilemma thing, and the guy makes a wrong choice, and then he's with these bad guys, and now the truck wrecks going across the desert, so now they're trying to get back, and people are gradually dying off, and it's heart-wrenching in a way. Anyway, let's do feedback before I think of something else to look at. Anybody? Chad's like going, finally.
I don't think I had to say anything at that point.
So this one takes a little bit of background, so I'm going to do this first one for Black Sabbath, episode 108, from Sound of Silence, K8U. Is that Kate-U? Cat? Or maybe it's just K8U.
Sound of Silence.
They sent us one last time that talked about, then we weren't exactly sure. He said that my apartment reminds me of the drop of water, the nurse's apartment. And we said, well, is it the layout, or is it like have a dripping leak or something?
Yeah, the refrigerator's leaking.
Well, he replies again, thanks for reading my comment. I almost fell out of my bed. So nice. I'm the one that mentioned Black Sabbath in the segment Drop of Water. The layout of my place was a lot like the nurse's apartment, the old tub and her bedroom, except for the water faucets over the tub. Thank you so much for reading that. I didn't mean my apartment had the same dripping. I meant the layout of the apartment. So got it. Appreciate it for clarifying. I love it when somebody actually clarifies something that we're not, can't remember what is going on. And here's another one from Sound of Silence. Chad.
And this is Sound of Silence. K8U says of the movie Dr. Satan, there was follow-up with the same actor, which is 10 times better.
I got to look that up. I just assumed the sequel was just going to be lame, but
I like Dr. Satan. I was really surprised by Dr. Satan. It was a goofy, entertaining movie.
Yeah. Then 190, Indestructible Man. Bill?
Sure. Emulus79 cryptically says, I think Dick Chasen really did leave it to Beaver as he had no kids. What the hell does that mean? So we solved one mystery and we walked right into another one.
There's a police detective in Indestructible Man, and they named the character Dick Chasen.
Chasen. Yeah, Richard
So
Chasen
we kept joking about that. We've been joking about that in our chat.
Oh, okay.
Ever since then.
It's kind of like the ant
sure,
hole.
sure.
Don't be an ant hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There he is, Dick Chasen again. Okay.
Sure,
And
give
then
feedback with the in-joke to the guy who wasn't there.
I know. So Chris, if you could see these 191 Planet of the Apes from Emulus.
Emulus 79. Those covers. This is hilarious. Electricity is somehow connected with Aquarius. Buttocks are associated with Librans. I'm not even making this up.
Take your word on that.
Yeah.
So I think
Emulus is new to things. I've been hearing a lot of his
like a translating manual for his stuff.
I think when he says those covers, this is hilarious. I think he was talking about, I put up a ton of posters and DVD covers and stuff for Planet of the Apes. And there was some pretty crazy stuff in there. We had that one, was it a Polish poster?
Oh,
and
yeah. Polish posters are
another
awesome.
one that was just whacked out, looked like I don't know, Picasso did it or something.
Emulus, you're going to have to realize that we are old and our memories don't. I don't, you know.
Yeah, that was 5 episodes ago. What the hell? So, and I believe that the stuff about Aquarians and buttocks and Librans is, he made some comment before about had something to do with zodiacs and what it means. You know, I'm like, or she. We don't know.
This guy's operating. This guy's doing 3D chess, and I'm still rock paper scissors.
I know. That's why I like him. I got to stop and try to figure him out. Or 195. Kaltiki, the immortal monster.
This yak fest here.
Chris, you want to read that, Chris?
The weather report indicates a large mass of hot air moving in. Who is this blowhard named Jose Luis Herrera Lepron? That would be this guy. For those of you who don't know, that's me. I'm too lazy to change my husband's account to mine. Let's see. This is on.
At least we know how to say that now, guys.
Yeah.
Kaltiki. Oh yeah, an enjoyable Blom film here. I like the atmospheric photography, and some of the effects are astonishingly well done. The shot of the skin coming off the arm, and that piece of Kaltiki in the glass box moving around and reproducing are great. Some of the miniatures, especially near the end, are tacky. And also the fire truck at the beginning.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
with the matches. The Arrow Blu-ray looks great. Let's see. I had to split this. I first saw it in the early 2000s. Oh boy, and anybody remember a label called Sinister Cinema?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
I had several Sinister Cinema DVDs, and they were absolutely awful. It looked like it was transferred from a moldy 8mm print that had been sitting under an ashtray in a dive bar someplace.
I'm pretty sure you saw the same thing I did, and that's why I didn't have a high opinion of it until I got to see a decent print.
Oh, and the Arrow, Jeff, you showed your Arrow Blu-ray.
Yeah.
It looks phenomenal. Yeah,
I mean, it had. If you got you've got commentaries from the two guys that wrote books on Bava.
Oh yeah, Tim Lucas.
Yeah.
Tim Lucas and Troy Howarth.
Sinister Cinema, boy, I hadn't thought about that in so long, but you're right. I mean, their stuff was the only way you could see some things, and it was better than nothing, but that's the only comparison where it came out on top. Nothing.
Yeah,
So,
they had a distinctive blue and white cover. And the only other, I think I had also the film, you see the Lost Missile with Robert Loggia?
Ooh, yeah.
I had that. I don't anymore, but well, it's not a bad film. It's just, it looks so awful. It was, like watching two black cats fight in a coal mine. Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
yeah.
All right, then one more here, and I don't know if I'm going around the block or not. I think it's probably Chad. Well, it is Chad's turn because we haven't heard your
Gregory Crosby imitation.
yes.
Gregory. Yes.
And Gregory says, "What a load of tripe." Kidding.
Yeah.
Pal Tiki, alongside X the Unknown and the original Blob, is one of the great glob horror films of the era. And the crew is right. The black and white cinematography, especially on those opening scenes, is absolutely gorgeous. It's so atmospheric, I half wish the entire film had been set in that jungle. It was fun to revisit this one, as I hadn't seen it for ages. And I'm with Bill.
There
If
you
ever
go.
do 1966's Island of Terror, please let me know. I have extremely vivid memories of seeing this on television when I was a kid, where it thoroughly creeped me out. Crosby out.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Justice.
Now, Chad, is it okay that he reads my response to that?
Okay.
Go ahead, Chad.
Jose Luis Herrera Lepron says, "Love me some Island of Terror. Action, chicken noodle soup, fishing in silicates, and a couple of great lines from Cushing. Fun stuff. Y'all."
Uncanny.
Yeah.
Wow, if I closed my eyes, I couldn't tell which of you was talking.
I love that movie. I love that film.
It's a great movie. It's
Yeah,
so
it
good.
is. Yeah.
It will.
We got to do that. We got to do
It
it.
will come
I
at
think
some
it's on
point.
Shutter or something now, so we should do it while it's
And
still
it's got
there.
a nice looking Blu-ray, Jeff.
Ah,
It's inexpensive too.
Okay. I think I might have it. I'm not sure.
he's got so many.
I'm not at home now, so other people have way more than I do. I just started in the last 5 years is all. Or
That's
6.
every
maybe
hoarder
7
say Milda Marcos. Other
Yeah.
people have more shoes than me.
Other people have more empty milk
Yeah.
cartons than me.
I'm looking around here and it's what you can't see in this room, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't have a single laser disc, Chris.
Oh, I have.
Wow.
I have many. A very, very, very kind person has been
Now, I
sending
did-
more to me.
I did spend a
I
bunch of
remember
time
laser
copying videotapes from the video store, which I have never done anything with, and I'm sure they all suck by now. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Well,
Oh yeah. Cool. Well, who didn't do that back
all
in
right.
the day?
There's plenty of ways to stay in touch. Please send feedback to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com, or better yet, leave comments on Gruesome Magazine's YouTube channel or on Gruesome Magazine's H&R DOH podcast Facebook group, or even on the website at gruesomemagazine.com. Check out our Patreon channel too for just a few dollars a month. You can, and by few, I mean 2 or 3. I'm not exactly sure how the levels work, but one of the benefits is you get Decades of Horror podcasts the day after, at the most 2 days after they were recorded. And normally our regular schedule is it's 12 to 14 days after.
So it's
we
like
recorded.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't confuse me.
Don't worry, we'll go back in time and fix
You're
it.
so far in front of me, I'm behind you. So I'm so far behind you. I'm in. Anyway,
Yeah.
I forgot the line now.
Made sense the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we love feedback. So please send feedback, and we try to read all of them. So do that. We don't normally comment on YouTube, but we will read it and talk about it. So that's it for this episode. But every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1920 and 1969. Next up is one chosen by Daphne, The Spiral Staircase from 1936, directed by Robert Siodmak.
And you have our DOH sign of quality. We will go longer on the podcast than the actual movie itself every time, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
That's a good movie.
Starring Dorothy McGuire, Ethel Barrymore, Rhonda Fleming, and Elsa Lancaster.
I thought you were going to say
it
Ethel
is.
Merman.
It is a good movie. And quiz for
George
everybody.
Wendt.
Dorothy McGuire. What's Dorothy McGuire known for?
Oh, she's known for a lot of stuff.
I'm going to say Old Yeller.
Yeah,
Oh.
she was in
Daniel
Summer
Boone,
Place. Summer
and
Place.
Swiss Family Robinson. I'm just throwing out the Disney stuff.
Star Wars?
I don't think so. So anyway, folks.
I'm pretty sure I remember her in the credits. Dorothy McGuire is Chewbacca. Yeah.
So that's a good one, and that's available on YouTube, and it's a good copy on YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah, it is.
The Spiral Staircase. Some might call that horror adjacent, but it's
It's a
pretty darn.
thriller, almost like a film noir. Also,
Mhm.
yeah, and it's kind of a serial killer character. So I figure.
Do we have to read it?
No, you do not.
Okay. Then I'll be good with horror adjacent.
But I'm looking hard for an international film for my next pick.
You know what? I'm putting in my resignation right now. Consider this my 2 week notice.
Well,
I'm having to watch horror adjacent, and I got to read all my movies that come out. What the hell's going on around here?
International could be Canadian.
I just got finished watching a Canadian piece of crap. Blue Monkey.
That's true.
Oh well.
Monkey.
You picked that one.
I know I did.
That actually is true.
I didn't know it was Canadian. If I'd have known it was Canadian, I'd have never picked it.
He thought there was a blue monkey in it.
Yeah.
All right. Guys.
I love being grumpy. It's so funny.
I lose control very early on. Catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the classic era, as only Decades of Horror can do it. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris and Bill.
Happy to do it
as well.
Yeah,
thank you.
Really appreciate it, and good talking with you again. And
come back anytime.
All right.
Yes,
say good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
Now he's in a hurry.